You're listening to the Afro Qi podcast, a show for my fellow Black female energy healers and the everyday woman who wants to heal her energy in a creative and holistic way. You'll hear from Black female healers who share their knowledge, gifts, and experiences and enlighten you on how to tap into your powerful Black energy to get the results you need to live an energetically free life. If you're ready to become unstuck, find freedom and peace energetically, stay tuned. I'm your host, Kierrah Flipping. Hey guys, it's Kierrah Flipping, the creator and host of the Afro Qi podcast. I wanted to just come and do a really short and quick intro podcast just to let you guys know what to expect and just a little bit about the journey and creation of the Afro Qi podcast. So first, I am a therapist. I'm a licensed professional counselor, and I own a outpatient mental health clinic in Maryland. And just in my journey of doing mental health work, I just noticed that my clients were in need of something more. They were in need of something outside of talk therapy and outside of the traditional mental health interventions that I learned and provided for clients. And our practice, we serve an array of people. We serve men, women, children, old and young, but our primary clients are African American females. So that's primarily who I see. So again, just working with them and realizing that they needed something a little bit more deeper than what was offered with traditional talk therapy. So I began to just express to my dad sort of my frustrations and almost, my insecurities as a therapist. Like, why can't I help them? Why aren't they getting the results that I felt like they needed and that they felt like they needed? So my dad offered something to me called Reiki, and I began to do my own research, and I got my certification in Reiki, and I got all the way up to the top level to be a Reiki master. And I took my training very serious, and I still to this day take Reiki very serious. And I began to offer my Black female clients Reiki in addition to talk therapy. So I didn't take therapy away, but I integrated the two. And I was mind blown because the energetic work that we did in the Reiki session really showed to be beneficial towards the goals that we were working on in therapy. So I just continued that, and my practice grew so large that I had a waiting list and I didn't know what to do. And I began to grow the practice into a group practice to bring on some other professionals that could really hone in on the therapy piece so that I could focus more so on the Reiki and on the energetic healing of my clients. So in doing that, I really discovered two things. One thing was that the Black women that I was working with, they weren't familiar with energy work. They had never heard of it, or maybe they did hear of it, but they weren't too sure of it. They didn't know what it was or what it meant. So I started off with just a lot of education and informing my clients on how to heal energetically and what energy even means and how it's all connected to their mental wellness and just wellness as a whole. So that was very interesting and enlightening for me to be able to help these women to focus on their wellness in a different way. And then the second thing was I began to receive messages from people from all over, like places I had never been before. South Carolina, California, New Orleans. I'm like, oh, Chicago. Like, I've never been to Chicago. It's like, oh my gosh, people are reaching out. And their question was, Kierrah, how can I find somebody like you in my area? I see what you're doing. I love what you're doing, but I can't find any other Black females in my area that's doing what you're doing. And that really struck me. Like, I know I'm not that much of a unicorn. Like, there has to be other Black women out here helping other Black women heal just the way I am. So I would do my research for these people that were reaching out, and I would send them different companies that I found, different businesses, different names of healers, different yoga studios ran by Black women, like anything I could find in their area. I would try to give them these resources. And, again, that really struck me, like, wow, like I always felt like, Black women, they didn't know about this stuff. And then here it is, Black women that are, getting informed about it, but are feeling hopeless because they can't find anybody in their area. So that's really what struck me wanting to do a podcast. If anybody knows me, I'm an introvert. I am super shy. I stay to myself. I really don't like to talk to people. I don't do well at networking events. Like, I walk into a room and I just like feel everything. So I really don't talk much because I'm an empath. So I'm too busy feeling that my words and my mouth don't work. So this podcast is straight up out of my comfort zone. But I'm okay with that because I can't stay in my box, in my little bubble, and hold back the need for Black women to hear other Black women healers and hear the work that they're doing, and get connected with these women that are going to be featured on this podcast. My hopes is to feature Black energy healers from all over, so that these Black women that are reaching out to me from LA and Chicago and South Carolina, they can hear from the Black women in their area and hear the work that they're doing, and then be able to connect with them. So that's my goal with this podcast. It's going to be some amazing Black women featured on this podcast that are doing super duper duper amazing things. So you'll hear, energy workers or energy healers, but that is so deep and so broad. So I plan to cover the whole spectrum of energy work, of energy healing. So you guys stay tuned, follow along this journey, share this podcast with other Black women that want to really heal and want to, explore their energy, and, they just want to get connected with other Black women. So I'm super excited. I hope you guys are super excited too. And I'm looking forward to this. Thanks for joining us this week on the Afro Qi podcast. Be sure to visit our website at afroqi.com and on all social media platforms at the Afro Qi. Subscribe to this podcast now so you never miss a show.